In our series, The Road to 2020, we are talking to current and prospective presidential candidates about issues affecting the country. Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota announced her candidacy in February, as you can see, in a lot of snow. And now she serves on the Senate Judiciary Committee and took part in the questioning of Attorney General Barr earlier this week. Senator Klobuchar joins us first on CBS This Morning to share her new plan for addiction prevention and treatment. We're going to get to that in just a minute because I know it's a cause that has affected you personally. But first, you just heard the Speaker of the House accuse the Attorney General of a crime. What's the remedy?
Well, first of all, the minimum, what the Attorney General did before Congress was misleading. At the maximum, he wasn't telling the truth. He basically was asked, well, what do you think about what Mueller thinks about your report and what you did? And he just said, I don't know. And it turned out there was a letter, there was a conversation. So to get to the real nub of the facts, we've got to get Bob Mueller in to testify. There's absolutely no way we're going to be able to figure out what happened here, especially when it comes to Russia, if we don't have Mueller come before Congress. So once you get those facts, you can figure out what happened.
Of course, the Republicans who control the Senate have not said that they will bring Robert Mueller to testify. But you have a specific question for him about the president's taxes. What's at issue there?
Well, during the hearing, I just kind of on the spur of the moment asked the Attorney General, well, the president has said that he assumes that Mueller looked at his taxes, looked at the financials on his organization, and then suddenly I asked him, and the Attorney General of the United States said, well, I don't know if we looked at it. And I said, you don't know? He said, no, I don't know. You'll have to ask Bob Mueller. So I said, okay, and now if they don't call in Bob Mueller, I wrote a letter yesterday and said, I guess they're not going to call you in, or you must come in, but please get me these taxes.
Is there anything the Senate Democrats can do to get Mueller in?
Well, Lindsey Graham, as the chairman of the committee, could demand that he come in, yes. And so we will continue to push our chairman to get Bob Mueller in. Because when you really stand away from all of this, what really matters to the American people, no matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, you do not want your election invaded by a foreign country. They didn't do it with missiles. They didn't do it with a tank, but they did it. And the FBI director has been very clear. The head of intelligence has been clear. This happened, and they're getting bolder. So that's why we need to protect our elections with things like my Secure Elections Act, bipartisan, backup paper ballots, make sure there's audits. And repeatedly, the White House has stopped us in our tracks from passing a bill that would actually greatly help our security.
In addition to your work on the Senate Judiciary Committee in Congress, you're also now campaigning for president. How many people are in the race now on the Democratic side?
There are a number of people in the race. I'm not counting. Focus on my own campaign, going to Michigan today and then to Iowa. And people out there, while they are asking here and there about the Mueller report and things like that, I can tell you their overriding concern, Norah, is making sure that they don't get kicked off their health care, something this week the Trump administration filed a brief to do in the Fifth Circuit. And so their concerns are bread and butter concerns about how can I get my kid to college, how can I drive down a road without being in a traffic jam.
I mean, I don't have to tell you this, but I think a lot of Americans believe what's happening in Washington is not addressing the concerns and problems that they have at home. At the top of that list, too, addiction, prevention, opioid abuse. It's rampant.
It is the most surprising question I get everywhere, and part of it may have been because of my own experience during the Kavanaugh hearing. I had the opportunity, we'll call it, to talk about my dad and how he literally, as a newspaperman and a columnist and a mountaineer, climbed to the highest mountains but then sunk to the lowest valleys because of his problems with alcoholism.
How did that shape your approach to policy here?
Well, he had 3 DWIs, and what I saw was on the third one, that made him go to treatment. That was it, because he was facing jail time. And when he went to treatment, in his words, he was pursued by grace. And so that has pushed me, as well as my work as a prosecutor, to say, you know, we want to give people a chance. And whether they're addicted to opioids or meth or crack cocaine, which, by the way, those drugs are affecting people of color more than opioids, or alcohol, we've got to give them a chance. People in America are saying, how can I get help? Yep. And that's why we need more beds for both mental health and for addiction. so that people have a place to go so they can get that help. We need to focus on suicide prevention, 30% increase.
How do you
Farmers,
pay for this?
veterans.
How do you pay for this?
I have it all set out. You pay for it, first of all, with a 2 cents per milligram fee on those opioids, on those manufacturers that have been making so much money, the drug companies, the pharma companies, on opioid addiction. They made the money. They should pay for this treatment.
Do you think there is possibility of bipartisanship here?
A big chance of there already is bipartisanship, and that's why I think I have tried to approach this campaign by coming up with ideas, one, people are actually talking about, because we can protect the law and do policy at the same time, and two, that a reality can get done. And this is something so many Americans are crying out for. So let's get this done.
Senator Klobuchar, thanks for joining us here.
Thank you. It's great to be on.
Thanks.